All right, welcome to another episode of the Boneyard. Tonight we got Dag Amont, owner and founder of Badlands Promotions, founder of the Manitoba Loud Music Awards, which we've been talking about a lot on the Boneyard in the last month and a half. So, how about a little, just a little introduction of yourself, Dag?
Yeah, as you said, my name's Dag. I'm the owner of Badlands Promotions. I've been running that for 9 years. Um, and then the founder of the award show was something that I wanted to do for a long time, but didn't really have the guts to do it, and really just kind of pushed through and got it going 4 years ago. And yeah, and every year it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and better and better. And um, bit of a piercer. Well, I've been doing that for 16 years, and I'm just kind of like a jack of all trades.
And a musician as well.
Yeah, I play bass. I played bass for many years. I'm looking to get into frontman vocals right away here. So yeah, just
Awesome.
born in a musical home, so music is my life. It's the one thing I know more than anything.
Yeah, well, that's great. I guess right off the hop here, kind of your Badlands Promotions. Seems like anytime I open my Facebook or any kind of social media, it's kind of staring me in the face. There's so much going on all the time.
Yeah.
How do you keep up with that? Why don't you give us a little insight of Badlands?
Well, we're in 5 cities. We're in Portage la Prairie, Winnipeg, Brandon, the Paw, and then in Lethbridge as well, Alberta as well. Um, I have a promoter in Lethbridge and a promoter in the Paw. Um, we do sound. We provide like sound engineering. We do merchandising. We do EPKs. We do a little bit of everything. Basically, anything a band can need, we do. But it's mostly event promotion. That's how it all started, was event promotion.
Hmm.
And yeah, I feel like I can't get enough live music. So
Excellent. There's also you have a person out in Steinbach who's putting on a show on the 13th, I believe, as well.
yes, Ruth. She actually just joined our team.
Hmm.
She joined to help me book a tour for the Fixer, who's one of the bands on our roster. They're from Ontario, and it's like a 3.5 month long tour. But I had
Oh
also
wow.
been booking, like, working on 2 other tours as well, and another tour was supposed to happen too, but I just kind of overdid it, and so Ruth took the reins on the Fixer tour, and she's looking at getting more involved with Badlands Promotions. So I'm really happy. I couldn't be happier to have somebody like her on my team.
Yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. So you just had a show. I actually got some footage from one of my friends who was at it in Brandon at Ripcords
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the East Side Eatery. Yeah, I got a message from someone that night. Sent me a picture, and of course, I saw Badlands sign in the back. So
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, cool." I said, "Must have been Dag involved in that one." So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so do you attend most of these shows as well?
I would say 98% of them I'm at.
Wow,
Yeah.
touring guy,
Yeah.
eh?
Yeah. So
um,
my goal for this year was to have 44 events by the end of the year, or
what are
40
you at
events
now?
by the end of the year.
Close.
So, yes. I usually hang up posters around my walls.
Yeah.
Um, and like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, so like that's all of our events that we've done this year so far. And
Excellent.
like they go all the way down right over to that corner there, and it's just kind of my way of keeping track. And then at the end of the year, I laminate them all, and
Hmm.
yeah, and put
Awesome.
them in
Well,
a
something to be proud of. That's for sure.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
lot. A lot of
yeah,
people. A lot of people don't make a lot of shows every year. It seems like you got your hands tied there, so that's good.
yeah. I was a healthcare aide, and then I tore my rotator cuff about 2 years ago, and the politics in healthcare and stuff like that, and just a bunch of things going on in my personal life. I had to make a choice to see whether I could financially make this work full time. And so I crunched some numbers, and between this and doing piercings, I can make it work. So
There you
I
go.
hopped in full time in about, I think back in October, November. Yeah, right around the award show last year. So
Cool. Just I guess speaking of the, with the shows and everything come up, I see you do some work with at Bulldog as well.
yeah,
Do you have any favorite venues to go to?
I really like Bulldog. It's a beautiful venue, very beautiful venue, and um, I also like helping them, try to get more people in their venue, because like it's basically like the next zoo essentially,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Since the zoo closed, like this would be the next best thing, and they have great sound, great stage, amazing lights, nice big open space, and like some pretty amazing bands play there. And I don't know why they don't get enough shows there, but
Hmm.
for whatever reason, I will always choose them first. They're really good to me, and I don't mind returning that to them.
Well, that's great. I haven't been there in a while. I think last time I was in there, they had like a half pipe in the basement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do they still have that?
No, it was actually only the once.
It was. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Never
actually
been there
played
for
that
that
show.
one. What's that?
I played that show that they used it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was for Scam
Oh,
Jam.
yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting going into the basement part there and seeing that, and thought, well, this should be a good show.
yeah, yeah.
Cool. I guess another thing that you've been at recently, Drumheller Loud as Hell Open Air Festival.
You bet.
Yeah. How's
Yeah,
that? How'd that go?
I go every year.
Okay.
My old band played in 2019, and I haven't missed a year since. It's amazing. Like even taking the music out of it, you go there and you see people you haven't seen in a year, and they're all like family. Like everybody out there is like family, and 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 then you put 30, 40 bands on top of it for the whole weekend. It's just a great time. Like this year we saw Green Jello, and the Convalescence was back, Ramskull played,
Mm-hmm.
Book of Ghosts played, like a couple of locals played, and it was great. Like Tyrant's Demise, who are regulars out there. I think this is their fifth time playing, and this was year 12 for Loud as Hell.
Wow.
So yeah, I've become pretty close with the guy who runs it, like the organizer for it, and him too. He's just like family to me. Like I stop and see him in May when I go out that way, and we go out for dinner. And he's an all around one of the greatest dudes I've ever met in my life. And he creates that environment in his festival.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yeah.
just
The
it's
shots from it
wonderful.
just looked amazing. Like it looked like everyone was having a good time, and just bands hanging out with bands, and
Yeah,
uh, there was one shot there, and it looked like it was all Manitoba bands as well.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was pretty cool. Pretty cool to
We
see, right?
yeah we tried to rally up all the Manitobans into one shot, and we missed Derek Kroll. He unfortunately couldn't make it back. Him and his girlfriend couldn't make it, or fiance couldn't make it back for the shot. But like, yeah, so there was like Ramskull, Book of Ghosts, and Tyrant's Demise all in one shot, along with me and another guy. So
Mm, awesome. Yeah, I had Ramskull on 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago.
great.
I believe it was Mike and Keegan were on,
Yeah.
and I think Mike he's on the board with the Loud
Yes.
Festival, right? Or the Loud Awards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was a total fool, and I completely slipped my mind that he was on there, and I was asking him about it, and I should have directed a couple different questions towards him, and but
Yeah.
yeah, no, just kind of to touch on the Loud Awards. Any band I've talked to, whether it's on here or just through Messenger or just anything, it's nothing but positive stuff about it. I talked a lot about last year, and everyone's just so positive about it, and it's such a good thing for for that style of music too, right? It's
Right.
really, it really puts it on the map and starts getting recognized, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't always that way. Like the first year, I think that people didn't know how to take it
Hmm.
because, like, it's just some local guy doing it, right? But ultimately, my vision was to recognize us. Like, we work just as hard as country music. We work just as hard, if not harder, because we have to do it ourselves. You know,
Hmm.
uh, we work just as hard as anybody else, and nobody fucking recognizes us. So I wanted to be the person. Well, not that I wanted to be the person. I just wanted to make sure that we as a community of loud musicians get recognized. So like it was, the entire thing has been all about just doing something nice for the people I'm a part of a community of. And it's just the second year I think was still in that little lump, and then last year when we had Econoline Crush, it became a bigger deal.
Hmm.
People actually were like, okay, these guys are taking it seriously, and they're doing things, and they're getting like major headliners, and it's way bigger than I could have ever imagined when I was just thinking it up. But the first year we were going to do it, it was just me and one other guy, and I think we would have completely destroyed it had the pandemic not hit.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I'm pretty grateful for that pandemic shut it down, and then we came back and looked at it and was just like, okay, we need a crew.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's obviously it's a great thing, right? Like I say, anyone I've talked to is so positive about it, and really appreciate everything that's been done to support it. And you talk about having a band like Econoline Crush there, like it's an iconic band when you really go back. Like I remember Edgefest '97 at the old stadium. I
Yep.
remember
Yep.
them being there. I'm pretty sure I bought their album like 2 days before, and I was so excited to go see them. And I was whatever, 13 years old, 14 years old, right? And
Yep.
then to see that band, make a comeback the way they have, and they're playing. They just played Minnedosa, but to talk about a band like that playing the Loud Awards, yeah, it really means you're serious about it, right? And this year I see Voivod playing.
You bet.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one hit pretty close to home for me. Like, and it was so funny. We were trying to find. We've had a lot of hoops to jump this year, and a lot of stuff thrown at us. And then we were just trying to find bands, and it was just one thing after another. And then I had emailed Voivod's booking agent, and then forgot I emailed them. Randomly, we were just like, oh, I don't know what, like, oh, who are we gonna find? And randomly, I get this email, and it's the same booking agent as Econoline Crushes. So
Mm,
he was just like, yeah, I was working with you last year with the Econoline Crush, and I was just like, oh, awesome. And he was like, yeah, we can make it work. So
wow.
yeah, it just, and like that's back in my day. Like I'm I'm 43, so like that music scene is, that's when I was growing up
Hmm.
and stuff like that. So even Econoline Crush, like they were when I was growing up, and
Yeah, yeah, for sure, right? And with a band like Voivod, just in that, especially that style of music, I'm sure there's obviously a lot of appreciation for, to see a band like that. I remember the days leading up to it, and the announcement was coming, and I'm pretty sure anyone who didn't know were quite surprised by that. So
yeah, yeah.
it's just such a cool thing to do. What goes into booking a band like that? Obviously, you said you forgot about the email and everything there, but like, do you catch them on a tour, or is this something they're doing just coming out for this?
We, we caught Econoline Crush on a tour. They're
Yeah.
coming out, but Voivod's coming out just for this.
Wow.
So generally, the way it works is if bands are on tour, they have one rate, and if it's a one-off, they have another rate, and then you fly them out, and like feed them and everything else, right? Like,
Hmm.
so there's a lot of cost that goes into just having the one-off, but like once we realized we could make that work, I was just like, I don't care, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in making something work.
Yeah.
Like if you have the vision, you can make it. There's nothing you can't do. and there's no limit to things you can do. And the instant you say I can't is the instant you don't,
Hmm.
right? So I one of my old therapists used to laugh at me because I would like jump full into something without thinking about like how am I going to make it work, and sometimes it would just really screw me over, and sometimes it was like I knew I could make it work.
Yeah, no, that's it's just such a good thing to see. And tickets are obviously already on sale for the Loud Awards.
You
I know
bet.
that because I've already got my tickets for the Loud Awards. So,
Wonderful.
um, so the park, it's at the Park Theater this year, though.
You bet. Yeah.
We was last year as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I did. I thought I saw an advertisement about the Burton Cummings at one point.
Yeah, so we were originally booked at the Burton Cummings, but there was some miscommunication issues and we lost the date.
Okay.
So I got a hold of Corey real quick and I just said, like, hey man, is there any chance that this date will work? And he moved some people around, like talked to some people they were willing to move around, and yeah, he got us in, and so it's we really lucked out there. It was almost like we just had this bad stream of things happen to us, and then we just had to get over that little hump of those bad things, and then it was like good thing, good thing, good thing, good thing.
Yeah. You know what though? The Park Theater, it's a great venue too, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I enjoy it there. I've seen many, many, many bands there, and I've been to many shows there. Um, obviously, uh, obviously we want to get bigger and bigger every year, right? So
Mhm.
that's why we went to the Burt for this year originally. But since that didn't work out, then well, yeah, we'll go back to the park if it allows us. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
I guess another thing just with the Loud Awards is the appreciation for the bands is one thing, but there's also an appreciation for the fans. You have the even the Ambassador Award.
yeah,
Um, it's so cool to see that, and just kind of giving back to the people that give in too, right?
yeah. We're always looking for ways to acknowledge people who are involved in the scene in some way, shape, or form, right? So every year we add on a new one and a new category. Um, like this year's new categories were like loud single, songwriter, and there was another one, podcast.
Mm.
Yeah. So those were the three new categories this year. And, like when having Ambassador of the Year, the way it started was that's been there since year one. And there's a gentleman who comes to every show out here in Portage. I've never seen him miss a show, and when he does miss a show, it's because he's either sick or he's at a bigger show. Like, but like he's always right up front, rocking out. He's always like, super pumped about it. He comments on all my stuff all the time, and that helps boost the algorithm for sure, and he buys merch. He does everything he possibly can to make sure he gets, and he's been doing this for like longer than me, like he's been in these shows for as long as I can remember,
Wow.
and to me, I wanted to recognize him for that,
Yeah.
and it became a permanent category as somebody who cares about the scene.
Yeah. No, for sure, right?
So
I
yeah,
worked I worked with a guy that I believe was up. Sorry, I'm just looking up his. I can't pronounce his last name, but I worked with a guy who I'm pretty sure was up for an ambassador award. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but it was Jonathan. I can't remember his last name. Starts with a B, but I think he's from
yeah,
Brandon
yeah,
now.
yeah. He was last year,
Yeah,
or no, he was this year. He was this year.
this year. Yeah. Oh, it's great,
Yeah,
and it's guys like that when I worked for a very short time with him, and
yeah,
he was always talking about music. Every time you see me talk about music, he'd be talking about bands I actually had no clue who they were, but he'd talk my ear off about it, and
yeah,
and
yeah,
just a great guy. And I thought, this guy is music,
yeah, yeah,
he's right involved.
yeah. And that's exactly it. Like it, I've seen him just randomly walk into shows in Winnipeg, and randomly walk into shows in Brandon, I'm not sure if he's been to any here in Portage, but quite possible.
Yeah.
Like he's just, if he wants to go to a show, he's going to go to a show. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he went to like 70,000 tons of metal too.
He did. Yeah. I remember
Yeah.
seeing pictures of that.
Yeah. And like, just to that's a fan. That is
Yeah.
an ambassador, somebody who loves the music so much that they don't care the distance, they'll just go, or they don't care, like they want to support the bands and they buy all their merch, and like those are ambassadors, or people who make a difference in the scene. Like
Mhm.
they're all ambassadors. They're all the scene doesn't survive without people like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. And you got a couple MCs this year. You got the two big girls coming in as well.
Bet.
That's pretty cool. I've kind of tried to follow them a little bit more since I hopped on with the Boneyard here
Yeah.
and everything, and had a couple of conversations of trying to get them on this show and kind of merge it for a
Yeah.
episode would be cool. So
I'm actually on one of their episodes on September 6th.
oh, cool.
Yeah, I think I'll be the first sober guest on there.
And you know what? Just to kind of take it off topic for a second, your post there, I believe, was back in July. Big congrats on that. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and that's been another driving force, like with the music and stuff like that, with the promotions. And I wouldn't be able to do this if I was still out there. I wouldn't be able to do a quarter of the things I would be doing that I'm doing now if I was still using or still drinking or anything like that. Like I've basically taken that energy, and that was scary for me when I got sober, because all I know is the association between music and partying. And now I can still party, but I can do it sober.
Mm-hmm.
I can still do all the shit that I wanted to do. Now I'm able to. And so it's just, I owe my recovery to this, like, because if it wasn't for my recovery, I wouldn't have this,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe somebody else would have done it, and the scene would still have it, but for me, like, I wouldn't have this. So yeah, like I have 2 awards on my desk, just up on top of my desk there, and one of them is I won Bassist of the Year the second year, and then the other one is actually I got awards made up for all of us promoters that year.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just gave all of us promoters awards for being promoter of the year. Right. And like, I took them out to dinner, and just like I like doing stuff for the crew, because we're all volunteers. None of us get paid for this. We're all volunteers. So at the end of the year, we have like a little wind up dinner. And last year I took them to Ray and Jerry's, and it was a beautiful meal and great time. I gave them each like $100, like spend $100, and ended up being a little more over 100 each. But it was like, whatever, like, I appreciate the hard work that these guys put into it, and they bust their asses, and it's all volunteer, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't get paid either. This is my way to give back to them as well.
Yeah.
Any profits depends on what I can do for them. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, you're killing it out there now. It's like I said, I open my any social media, and something's looking at me about a live show going on, and I know you look in one of the corners, there's a Badlands logo there. And and it's just great. It's great to see. It's great to see someone out there doing it. There's a lot of people that put a lot of time into things, and when you start seeing success of things like that, like these shows going on, and like the Loud Awards, and you see bands coming here, like hearing that you got Voivod not on a tour, like that's just great, right?
Yeah,
and it's that hard work that you got to be proud about. So
yeah, for sure. I if I was just a music promoter alone in today's society, I couldn't do it. Like, I lose a lot of money to shows, because like either there's other shows going on, or because there's always something going on in Winnipeg, or like people just low attendance and whatever else, right? But at the end of the day, those shows I usually get something from in my heart. Watching people in their element and watching people do what they created, and like I always say, like I said, I could never get enough live music. I've seen clearly over 100 bands this year already, and it's only August.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. I love live music so much. But then there's like really good shows that help balance that out, and then there's the merchandising and the tours and all the other stuff that we do, right? Like that kind of helps keep us afloat.
Yeah.
Helps me be able to pay my bills. So, yeah.
Do you have any bands specifically that you like live? Like, who are some of your favorites?
Some of my favorites,
Hard pick when you've seen 100.
Yeah. So for as far as locals go, like as far as our circuit goes, I would say like Ramskull is definitely one of my favorites. And I don't say that because they're on my roster. There's Matt Corey. He's just a phenomenal performer and phenomenal musician. And
he's also up next after you today.
Oh yeah.
He's coming on at 8.
Yeah, and he's a wonderful guy too. Like he's super easy to talk to, and he's just, him and I bond really well. And if he has something like bothering him, he'll come to me and we talk it out. And like he knows like he's comfortable enough with me, and that's awesome. Other great bands, like OCD's great. Unsilenced, I'm a huge Unsilenced fan. If you get a chance to get them on your podcast, do it up, because they are, I cannot say enough good things about them. I've missed like one Unsilenced show, maybe two, since I started booking them, and they aren't on my roster, but I will always pump them up. There's so many good bands I've seen this year. Actually, I have Unsilenced at Bulldog on the 23rd. Indigo's tour kickoff. They're heading out east with the Fixer.
Oh,
for a few of the Fixer's dates. Yeah, so
Fixer, they're from Thunder Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And so the Fixer won't be at that show. The Fixer's actually playing Winnipeg the Friday before.
Okay.
So I have them this Thursday, this Friday, and this Saturday in Portage, Winnipeg, and then Brandon. And then I have Indigo in Winnipeg. And then, and then I'm doing like a sound engineering job on the Saturday, Sunday out here for the Hoop and Holler Folk Fest. And like, yeah. And then September is just like hammer down on get ready for the awards. I have the week before the awards, I have M1 coming out. They're a Motorhead tribute band.
Okay, cool.
So I have them in Winnipeg and Brandon, and then every year this will be the second annual Bear Fest that we're putting on for a guy from Marburg that they called Bear, who passed away, and so that'll be like, they're so good. I had them last year, and they're just absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, it's busy like from now until the end of September, and then I got a few dates in October and November. And
awesome.
Yeah,
busy,
very busy. It's what I wanted though.
Yeah, exactly, right. What day is the Loud Awards on? It is September
28th, I believe. It's Saturday. Yeah, 26th, 28th.
28th, yeah. Perfect. Yeah. I'm just kind of writing some of these dates down of yours here, so.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you mentioned, obviously, just kind of talking there, you mentioned Ramskull being in there, and, I had Ramskull on, and they had great things to say about you, great things to say about the Loud Awards, but their album, the Parasitic Sapiens, came out a couple years back, a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Like it's just pure energy, right?
Yeah.
And I understand why you'd enjoy them live, and obviously they were out at Drumheller as well. You know what's a band like that? Like they're one of your bands though, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what drew you to that band?
I actually booked them. They were one of the last shows I booked before the pandemic.
Hmm.
Um, and I really, really enjoyed them, like live. And then they got nominated for Metal Band of the Year in the first year of the awards, and they only lost by like a couple of votes.
Oh wow.
And I kind of really, Mike reached out to me and was just like, how can I be involved in this? This is such an amazing thing you're doing. And he had the vision that I had, like he would just wanted to be a part of it. And Mike and I got a lot closer, and I got to see them some more. And he started talking. Well, Mike and I got closer, and he started telling me that, like they were going to go back on stage and do it in honor of Shane. And, watching them play, and then eventually Mike asking like if we would represent them, like that was such a huge honor to me, because like to represent them for what they're doing, and them being one of my favorite locals as well, and just being so close to those guys as people, Keegan, Mike, Jamie, Carson, like I think the entire time we were out in Drumheller, I pretty much hung out with them almost the entire time, right? Like, because just they're such great people to be around, and such positive energy, and Dave too, like their videographer. He's so smart and so funny, and just like fun to be around, right? Like, and so when they asked me if they could join the roster, I was like, yeah, of course you can, like I was I had to keep it cool though. I was like, yeah, we could talk about it.
Absolutely. They're great. I told them there was about a week there where I'd wake up, go to work at 6:30, and have their music blaring in my car. And I said, there's nothing like getting your day started after that. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I have a list of bands I call my ADHD bands, and they're bands I shouldn't be listening to while I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few songs off the Parasitic Sapiens album, and a couple off, like the first album or whatever that that are like that for me. So
Yeah. Sure, right?
yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's been great having you on the show. Is there any last words for you?
Oh no.
Obviously, get your tickets for the Loud Awards.
Yeah, absolutely. myparktheater.com or myparktheater.ca, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get it through the Park Theater website. I imagine they'll go fast, just on account of that it's Voivod. So, make sure you get your tickets as soon as you can. I think Voivod hasn't been here in 6 years, something like that. So, yeah. So, I mean, hop on it. We got a few surprise awards this year again, just like always, and just a really, really killer lineup of artists that are playing. Ramskull, the Haleys, and Sans Regret are all lined up on it, as well as School of Rock, and Osiren is on it, and they just got back from a European tour.
Excellent.
And their singer is actually from Winnipeg, so
okay.
Yeah, they're really great. I suggest checking them out. They put on a phenomenal stage show. And just being around so many people who are just so grateful, and so happy and so loving. Like I said about the festival, right? It's the same thing. It's just nobody's there to mess with anybody. Everybody's there to just celebrate and have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
And that environment feels good here. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Right.
So, but yeah, thanks for having me on. I really
Not a problem. You keep doing what you're doing. People love you. People appreciate you. I like opening up my medias, as I said, and seeing shows going on and knowing that people are going to these things, and getting a random message from a guy I know from Brandon who's at some show, just a great show, the Ripcord show. He said it was just fantastic. So seeing stuff like that, and it gives you that security that music is still well alive, and especially the heavier music, right? And there's people out there promoting it, and obviously Loud Award shows that appreciation on not only the musicians but also the fans, as we talked about. So
there's some pretty big things coming up, but I won't get into it. I just want to leave that little hype out there.
We'll get you on another show then. All right.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.